What do these places have in common, other than people? You don't see it, but it's everywhere. It is software.
Our grandparents didn't use computer software or even computers. The first recognized computer program was created by Ada Lovelace in 1842.
The term software was first used in this sense by John W. Tukey in 1957.
And 11 years later, software engineering started to be used for the newborn industry. This period marked the big paradigm shift.
In another sense, though, there were always programs already in existence.
The laws of physics of our universe and the laws of the human nervous system that run our minds are in a sense programs themselves. Programs that occur naturally.
In this sense, we have no idea what the first program was, nor are we necessarily close to finding out.
Now, there's software everywhere in the world, no matter what country, city, age, or habits of the people. Wherever you look, there's probably software. What is software?
Software?
Software is a thing that makes people's life easy. Sometimes it may make people's life miserable as well.
Je n'ai juste aucune idée.
É um conjunto de instruções, né, que formam um programa para depois serem executadas por um computador.
Software is programy și niște jocuri.
Is the heart of the hardware.
Code put together that somehow tells hardware to do things.
What drives the computers, I suppose. It tells them what to do, how to think.
Any list of instructions that you give to a machine for it to operate.
Un outil qui permet de résoudre un problème donné par l'intermédiaire d'un ordinateur.
A way that people can control machines.
Software is the mechanism within a computer written by hand, usually, which tells the computer what it's supposed to do.
What about hardware?
Hardware is physical. Hardware is more tangible. Mechanical objects put together that you feed software into to tell it what to do.
The physical components of a computer.
Anything that's not software, I suppose, in a computer is hardware, like your keyboards and your monitors and the wiring in the guts of the beast.
That would be the physical, actual, tactile part.
Do you use a computer every single day?
Absolutely. Right from the morning till when I sleep. Computer is my big brother. It's my soulmate.
When you wake up in the morning, the very first thing that you look at is your computer. Is it really running efficiently?
La plupart du temps. Mais non, pas tous les jours.
Of course. I work with computer.
How often do you use your computer?
Every day, almost throughout the day, because I have so much work that I do online.
My computer is like my girlfriend, in a way. I'm married to her.
Every day, but for very specific purposes.
Todos os dias. E praticamente o dia todo.
Every day, about 1 or a couple of hours.
Every day. Many times every day.
Eu îl folosesc numai miercuri și când tata mă lasă.
The only day when I'm not using it is probably when I'm traveling.
Do you think software gives you more freedom or that it enslaves you?
I think it enslaves you because there's too much out there and it needs us to function. So you're sort of a prisoner in that internet, computer, software web.
Au début, ils m'ont compliqué la vie.
You can decide that you don't want to be enslaved with your computer, so you can decide that at home you don't want to use it.
Both, but more importantly, it changes the world in terms of what the world can achieve.
It enslaves you, for sure.
I think, like anything, like art, like drugs, like anything that people do, you can use it or it can use you.
It somehow enslaves you, you know, when you go on net and you just use the programs and it enslaves you to do it more.
Y si el ser humano a su vez lo usa, digamos, sin criterio, también puede significar de que también le termine, digamos, limitando o no siendo beneficioso.
Doesn't matter. Software gives freedom to computer, not to me.
Yeah, we need it. So I suppose it's brought us to where we are today. So I suppose it makes our lives a bit easier. It gives us freedom. Yeah, I reckon it gives us freedom. I'm not the work that I do or the life that I lead. I'm not chained to my computer. I'm not chained to it. So it doesn't enslave me.
It enslaves me because it makes me a little bit lazy.
The freedom to do more things, and I think certain companies make it so that we're very, very dependent on it.
Oh, definitely more freedom.
When you discover the beauty of using a software, you become a slave to it.
It has given me more freedom.
Yes, I'm enslaved a lot.
I don't see it as giving me more freedom. I have to explain that given my age, I didn't grow up with computers, and I don't use it as part of... I don't use it as often as technologically inclined people use it.
A ver, en cierta medida somos más esclavos, ¿tá? Pero esa esclavitud nos da libertad a obtener cosas que de otra manera no se podrían obtener.
I don't think it enslaves you.
It enslaves us in the sense that we have no choice but to work with the tools that are out there that people have developed for us. If you can create your own.
Most of the time I think it gives me more freedom.
It kind of makes you lazy and enslaves you.
You have much more freedom when you're away from software.
Pouco dos dois, mas eu não vejo hoje o software como você sendo um escravo dele. Não acho que tem esse peso negativo, por exemplo.
It enslaves. What do you think is the most important aspect of software?
Versatilitatea.
Working really, really, really well.
I think it should be user-friendly, and simultaneously the software should be such that it should be easily available in the market and with an economical price.
La simplicité. Vraiment, je trouve bien d'avoir un accès le plus direct possible au programme que tu utilises le plus souvent.
Usability.
The interface. It has got to be its unique ability to interact with the hardware and finally help in doing some complicated tasks.
Ça fonctionne.
First of all, it's quality.
It's speeding up things. You can even sometimes do a project by just pressing some buttons and then it's done.
To make people's life convenient.
And clear cut as to what its purpose is, because using words that are like 25 letters long for somebody who is not a connoisseur of computers completely boggles the mind, so you get frustrated and then you just shut it down altogether.
Any idea what QA means?
I have no idea what QA means.
Maybe it is quantity A, quality A.
No. I think it has something to do with online questioning.
Quality assurance.
What about BA?
British Airways.
Computer science technology.
A bachelor's degree.
The symbol for barium, that's the stuff that makes green fireworks.
Business analyst.
PM.
PM, à part pour l'heure, ça me dit rien.
PM afternoon.
Personal message as we use on Facebook.
Post-meridian.
Pulse modulation.
Private message maybe in chats.
Preventive maintenance.
Post-mortem.
Palm mute olması var. O da gitarda bir teknik.
Project manager.
Project manager.
UX.
No, definitely not.
You're an X factor.
Short for Unix.
Uxor or Uxor.
Ultra something.
I understand it has something to do with registering the emotional impact of a certain activity.
User experience.
DBA.
I have no idea.
Database analyst, I assume, or database administrator.
No, I'm sorry. I have no idea.
DBA stands for Database Administrator.
Do you think it's possible for some machines, which would have to be software-driven, to take over the world and rule the humans, as seen in some movies?
I don't think so. Because software doesn't have an emotion.
Je pense qu'on va y aller.
People have to write the software to give the machines the power to do this. And if no one's willing to go to that stage, then the machines don't stand a chance.
Anything could be possible. The fact that computers are actually an intelligence that we designed, I wouldn't foresee how it could happen, but I mean the plausibility is there. It's nice to see a filmmaker's take on what could be should technology escalate and become I guess, a superior force over mankind, which originally started with us. So, I don't know, that's debatable.
I don't see that coming in the next few years, maybe 100 plus.
Nu pentru că sunt subiecte și pentru că obiectele nu pot să vorbească.
Maybe not in a conscious way, computers and software could have more control over human beings, you know, just in the way that at the moment in our society people get obsessed with games like World of Warcraft, for example. You could say that the people are obsessed with World of Warcraft, that computer software has taken over their world.
The man is so clever that can do something more stronger than himself. He can do that. I think that he can really create a machine that can destroy him.
Machines are vulnerable to things which human beings are not, such as electricity, water.
There's no intelligence for me in the computers. It's in the person who coded that rely on intelligence.
Lo que no me parece muy posible es que controlen el mundo con un objetivo determinado. Lo que yo no me imagino es que sean capaces de crearse un objetivo.
Not in the immediate future.
Il n'y a aucun intérêt qu'un logiciel soit comme ça. C'est aberrant. Par contre, il faut quand même souligner que c'est déjà le cas. On a des logiciels qui contrôlent le monde boursier, par exemple.
When I think that how would world may end one day, I think this is the thing that happens.
Yeah, actually.
Conversely, you know, software has been put into a lot of medical applications. There's a lot of technology now which helps people. So on one hand, you have the potential to kill a large number of people, more than any other time in human history. But at the same time, we have the technology to protect and save a lot more people as well.
Yeah, sure.
Isso sim é possível. Eu acho que o limite, quem vai impor, vai ser o ser humano.
Asta ține mai mult de scenarii de filme science fiction. Cu toate că unele dintre filmele respective au fost foarte bine realizate și chiar ți-au lăsat impresia puternică că într-o zi s-ar putea să se întâmple lucrul ăsta.
Yes, I think so. Maybe because I'm influenced by movies, but I think it's possible, yeah.
It certainly is possible. I don't think it's ever likely because humans design the software. And humans would design it so that it did not allow that to happen.
I really don't believe that. I certainly hope not.
Então eu acho que ele acabaria na tela azul do Windows porque ele não conseguiria assimilar duas ações contraditórias. Então uma fala que escravidão é errado e por isso ele vai escravizar o humano, mas aí isso é errado também. Então ele acho que entraria em pânico. Então não seria possível isso acontecer. Não vejo como uma realidade possível.
I've always had this imagination that maybe this idea could come true one day.
This is a question that occasionally pops into my head, and I put it out of my head because it's sort of like, you know, a bit like religion that pops into your head from time to time, and you think, ooh, I wonder, and I put that in the same bucket as the can machines take over the world. It's pretty hard for me to think about, and it concerns me a little, so I don't think about it. They probably could.
No. I don't think so, because human beings have created computers.
And that can't happen. It will never even happen.
Il faudrait que ce soit vraiment des machines très intelligentes qui soient capables de faire des liens et puis de réagir en fonction de la situation, de s'adapter, tout ça.
We saw it on Terminator 1, Terminator 2, Terminator 3, and we are waiting for Terminator 5.
I don't think so.
We're at least 3,000 years away from that.
Non, je pense pas. Je l'espère pas. Il me semble que ça existe déjà un peu, le trading automatique, tout ça, ça me fait beaucoup peur.
Sadly, they are already doing it.
I don't know. I mean, I do believe in singularity, like this concept behind in which at one point we're going to produce machines that are able to replicate themselves intelligently.
I'm trying to remember his name, but he's an engineer. And he really believes that eventually, I mean, computers are getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and he talks about how they've gone so big to so small, and that eventually you could actually put them into your bloodstream. And he really believes this. And it's quite scary, but it could be very much the truth. But at this point, it's up to, I guess, the human to decide how far it goes.
Un scenariu de coșmar pentru omenire, dar este posibil.
Non, comme dans les films, je pense pas.
Could you briefly describe the process of developing software?
Well, it starts with an idea.
You need to gather requirements from either the client or the end users to find out exactly what's needed.
Then the business analysts write the requirements, which then are turned into technical requirements.
And after that, you have to build some global architecture and design the application.
Prototype it, let's do samples of it, working samples.
And then you can start to develop the software. In other words, you can start to code and create the screens and so forth.
Then comes the major phase of testing, where whatever has been given in the requirement, you have to validate accordingly.
There might be a feedback loop there going back to the client or some sort of user group. And then you need to have some form of training in general so that the end users know how to appropriately use the software and get the most out of the software that's been designed. And then finally it needs to be deployed, and any tweaks, any changes can then be made.
Until eventually they have the product they want.
Then I guess it's delivered.
Then goes the maintenance phase, whether if you put any patch, if you put anything extra in that, then you have to maintain it.
Until the software dies.
What do you think the people from inside the software making industry do at work while developing software?
I think they have lots of coffee and donuts.
They're going to be doing what people do. They'll be messing around, talking to each other, gossiping, looking at the office women, maybe a little bit of work when they have to do it to keep their bosses happy. Keeping their bosses happy will be a big part of it.
They're enjoying themselves.
Generally, they work quite hard, I believe.
I've always imagined them with sitting behind a desk, and all around them are a lot of papers, and they're always just typing, and just that shaggy look. And
make software or play table tennis if it's Google.
They think hard. They sometimes work day and night.
Asta faceți, pierdeți timpul.
Constantly thinking, planning, developing, testing. They're working hard. They're keying in programs, testing them, getting all the bugs out.
I think they do eat donuts and drink coffee.
O grămadă de matematică.
They play games, computer games.
The back-end guys must be giving it a shape through writing poetry.
Please describe briefly what you do in as simple words as possible, as less technical as possible.
What I'm doing is we're building visual simulations that help maintenance people learn how to fix equipment.
I'm working on a site which is used by millions of users, and I have to always, there is changes in that site, a new product comes in the site, and I have to validate that accordingly. So it's a dynamic work where I have to validate whether it's going according to the requirements.
If you have a mobile phone, you're making calls. My job is to make numbers out of it, or to find out as in how can I use this data and how to protect this data.
My job is perfect. I create things. I must touch all the functional aspects of a big object. So it's really always new things to look at, to analyze. It's always fun. It's always creative.
The thing for me is to make sure that the way the software is built, it's easy for the user to understand how they're supposed to interact with it.
As a trainer, my job is to basically communicate with end users who are not familiar with a particular software and get them to the point where they're confident in using that software on a sort of day-to-day basis in their work.
What do you think people from inside the software making industry, let's call them the software makers, do when they're not working?
People who are passionate about software, they work even their holidays and weekends to do more software.
I think they do much like everybody else does. They go running, boating. Perhaps some of them are a little more geeky, they'll tend toward playing computer games more, but in general, they're just normal people.
Sleeping. Poor souls.
I'm sure at the same time, like everybody else, but they're using computers in their spare time also, because everybody is.
I'm sure they smoke weed, like a lot of them. Few of them I know do.
I think they can be trying out the softwares they do.
They are so addicted to computers, I feel, that they're not able to get rid of it even at home.
Maybe it's a life around software.
They're still thinking about software, hardware, UPC, MBA.
Kesinlikle hobileri olduğunu düşünüyorum. Bize garip gelebilir ama mutlaka hobileri vardır.
Play video games.
J'espère qu'ils font autre chose. J'espère vraiment qu'ils font autre chose, mais je suis pas sûre.
But just regular people, doing what regular people do, I suppose.
Derrière cet ordinateur, travaille ordinateur et il se couche devant l'ordinateur.
World of Warcraft. I think they probably have to be computer based. I think to get a job in the software industry, you have to be already savvy.
Go for dinner, go for the movies, do their own thing.
Maybe they are enjoying the softwares they made.
Acho que elas devem estar pensando no software. Acho que elas devem fazer tudo menos ter uma vida social, coitadas.
Trying to live like normal people, I think, in the other times, but I'm not sure they can do it.
They carry on thinking about their programming problems, and quite often the solution comes in a dream at night.
Go home and build computers. There's a lot of those kind of people.
Probably trying to think of what they can create.
What do you do in your spare time?
I feel that I should give some rest to my body because I'm creating a lot of stress on my body. So I just let go everything and I sleep for a whole day on Saturday. I do some meditation. I do some yoga. I do some running whenever I get time.
I like reading and also singing. I have a local band here in Istanbul.
Tout sauf de l'informatique.
I love to ride my bicycle, go fishing, hiking, or just traveling.
Je regarde beaucoup de films. J'aime faire des bouffes avec les amis.
I'm trying to be away from computers. Movies, books are most interesting things for me.
Running, biking, reading. I enjoy watching movies and TV series. Traveling, enjoy going to restaurants, cooking, spending time with my wife and friends. Winter time, I like to go skiing.
Music. Listen to music. Trying to find new songs and new artists, and working on my DJing skills and stuff. Also movies and cooking. And
I like to watch movies, good movies. I like documentaries to watch. So hopefully this documentary I will watch one day.
Do you know what a TLA is?
No.
No.
TLA is a technical lab assistant.
3-letter abbreviation.
A 3-letter acronym.
Well, I know that it's a 3-letter acronym, yeah, but I don't know what it stands for.
Can you give me some examples of TLAs?
Example would be PDF, DBA.
Juste 3 lettres.
At work we have DCR, we have PDF document.
SQL.
Well, I used to have one. BMW.
An example of a technical lab assistant? That bloke, Igor, the fellow that helped Dr. Frankenstein make the Frankenstein, he'd be a technical lab assistant, I suppose. Igor. Yep, that's a TLA, Igor.
It was stolen, by the way.
LOL, TTYL.
CIA, FBI, ITV, BBC.
What do you think regular folks, the ones that don't work in the software making industry, let's call them the users, usually do on their computer?
Go on internet, mostly. Play games, probably a lot more.
I think there's a lot of social networking.
They read the news. So they get the news like every 10 minutes because they wonder if there's a new news that's coming.
Internet browsing and gaming.
They play games like something on Facebook, shop and read news.
Ils vont regarder leurs emails, ils vont sur Facebook, ils vont regarder leurs emails, ils vont chercher quelque chose sur Google Maps, ils retournent regarder sur Facebook.
They go to porn sites. They'll go to some doing online shopping.
What do you do on your computer?
Work, recreation, surf, listen to music, browsing.
I'm trying to think of something I don't do on my phone. I don't wash on my phone. That is it.
I'm a judge and I write judgments on my computer. And I can post my emails.
I do my official work and I search on the computer to the relevant topics of my interest. I talk to my children through Skype and we see sometimes movies also.
Editing for certain voiceovers.
Mainly communications, but writing as well.
Bilgisayarda müzikle ilgilendiğim için müzik dinlemek ve onunla alakalı şeyler. Onun haricinde dizi izliyorum. Sanırım bu ikisi en çok yaptığım şey.
C'est essentiellement pour écouter de la musique, de temps en temps regarder des mails, et pour moi ça s'arrête là.
Mainly interact with people, like my family lives in another country, friends, social networks, pictures. I watch films, I work on my assignments, I do a lot of things. I watch porn.
I'm watching films, reading ebooks, listening to music, and I check my emails on internet. I search for related articles to my major. Navigare pe internet, editare text, puțină editare grafică.
Merg pe Google, câteodată mă uit la filme de pe YouTube. Mă joc pe Free și câteodată mă joc jocuri de fete.
Send emails, I do create spreadsheets and update spreadsheets. I communicate with friends. I go on to Facebook a bit, but not so much.
Quelquefois des petites retouches de photos, comme ça j'aime assez bien le graphisme, alors j'essaye de faire moi-même mes affiches, des petites choses comme ça.
Could you please tell me 3 to 5 software programs that you use the most?
Firefox, Word Office, Firefox, Windows Media Player, and Firefox.
Oh man, really?
Adobe Reader, Microsoft Office Word, Windows Media Player.
Microsoft Visual Studio for my development. I do use Microsoft Office packages. I use Facebook, I use Skype, I use Twitter.
Email, Facebook and Skype.
Windows, Android, Gmail, Netflix.
The iOS platform software of my phone. The banking software.
My knowledge is limited in these areas. I use email, so I suppose the Hotmail is one. Yeah, that'd be a program. And then I use the Outlook. That's the stuff that I use at work for the secret squirrel emails that we shoot off every day. The Microsoft calculator, I use that a hell of a lot because I'm numerically inept.
Cool Edit Pro. I used to use Final Cut sometimes, not often. Microsoft Word, Excel.
Facebook.
Excel, Word.
Mozilla Firefox este fără îndoială programul care îl folosesc cel mai des. MS Word, MS Excel.
Program de contabilitate.
Windows.
Visual Studio. And I use it for web designing, for Windows application. Then I use SQL Server for database management, and sometimes I create database in that. I use Network Monitor also.
Google, if you consider that a software.
Database programs, music players, video converters, of course, Office programs.
Which ones do you think would be the 3 countries with the highest rates of software piracy?
China.
Peut-être la Chine.
Here in the West, we always seem to think that China is the biggest villain in this department.
India.
Eu acredito, eu vou nos maiores. Acho que Estados Unidos, China e pela nossa realidade eu colocaria o Brasil na lista.
I know Mexico.
Uganda.
My country is one of them, because I'm also one of them, and India and Russia maybe.
Probably the three most populous countries on the planet. So probably China, India, and America.
US, UK, and you something else.
US, Canada, and Nauru.
Sweden is very famous for the Pirate Bay.
I think the first two are Russia and China.
Maybe America too, because a lot of pirated movies and stuff, are always online.
China, India, Russia.
India, I guess, because of population.
Maybe China.
Based on the answers we got, the leader in software piracy is China with 21 votes, followed by the US with 15 votes. India, 12 votes. Russia, 8 votes. Uganda, 5 votes. Brazil, 4 votes. UK, Romania, and Nigeria, 3 votes each. Georgia, Turkey, and Mexico with 2 votes each. And then a group of countries with 1 vote.
Did you ever use pirated software?
No, I'm buying always a software in a shop.
Absolutely.
Il y aura des conséquences.
I used to 5 years ago.
I should say no, but yes, I've done it. Why? I want to try a software. I want to really try it. Then I'd buy it.
Probably.
Sim, já usei muito, principalmente da Microsoft. E não é nenhuma crítica à Microsoft.
Yes, as a child.
No. Yeah. In Iran, sometimes we have no choice.
Never. I wouldn't even know how to.
All the time. Only a sucker pays $300 for a piece of software that you can download for half an hour for free.
Yes.
Eu posso me encrencar por dizer que sim. Acho que como todo mundo eu já usei sim.
If I did, I know it never works great, so I don't.
I think you can actually count the number of people in Uganda who have bought Windows licenses. The rest of them, the rest of us, have just pirated.
Ooh. No. I'm completely legit.
Before.
Yeah, well, I'm sure I did use copies that were not necessarily legal.
Software, no, but I have watched some pirated movies.
Of course. Yeah, I have many times.
Yes, I used when I was a student.
I don't think so, not knowingly.
Do you think reducing the rate of software piracy would be a good thing worldwide?
Yeah, it would be a good thing. First of all, pirated software, it's a cracked software. So by that means you lose some functionality, and there is a danger of bringing viruses or all that stuff to your system.
It won't be good.
I think that everything we could find on the internet should be for free. I understand very well the idea of copyright, but simply, the copyrighted stuff should not be posted on the internet.
It will be because I think people have more respect for artists like us that spend endless hours making what we do.
It depends. For rich people, maybe. For poor people that they don't have money and it's really very expensive to buy it in a shop and they are using other ways to have it, I don't think so. Ar fi un lucru bun pentru producătorii de software, dar un lucru rău pentru noi utilizatorii, pentru că ar trebui să plătim pentru absolut orice programel pe care îl folosim.
I think they've made enough money.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. If you've created a piece of software, particularly if it's over a year old, I think it should be free, because there will already be 5 new versions of the software. And once it's obsolete, why not give it out for free? We could have educated the world by now if software companies weren't so greedy.
I don't think so. If you reduce the piracy, people will not use more software.
Maybe. I'm not sure. I read an interesting article a few months ago about, I think it was in Victorian times, how back then there was, piracy of novels, books, and how there's a strong argument that actually increased circulation, increased the exposure for the novelists, and in the end they actually ended up making more money. So I think there are some arguments that piracy isn't all bad.
Yes, for sure, but it would change the commercial solution at large, because Microsoft builds its empire on pirates.
Can you be against the virtue? I think not.
I'm not sure would it be a good thing or not, cause I still do use pirates stuff. No.
I think it would be a good thing, but I don't see it happening. I see software piracy becoming more and more prevalent.
The issue may not really be trying to reduce software piracy. I strongly believe in open source. Let the software be out there for free. Find other ways of making money.
Yes.
Overall, I think it would be. I think it's reasonable that the people who author a software get paid for it.
The word piracy is synonymous with bad things, and I suppose software pirates are taking money off honest people. So yeah, I think probably reducing it wouldn't be a bad thing. It makes the money go to the right place.
Do you foresee a possible way of reducing it?
I don't think there are enough people who want to reduce it that it will ever happen. There are millions of us. There's one of Metallica.
Pricing. I think people who buy software are heavily sensitive to price, and a lot of software is more expensive than it should be.
Maybe a free version that contains some basic features, maybe people would pirate less.
For now, yes, actually, the more good and cheaper free alternative you have, the less the piracy rate would be.
Non. Plus on va trouver le moyen de les sécuriser, plus il va y avoir de gens, et souvent les mêmes qui ont développé ces sécurités, qui vont passer leur temps à essayer de les casser.
Bom, um pouco como eu já comentei na pergunta anterior, sim. E eu acho que a tendência é nas App Stores da vida. Eu acho que esse é o melhor exemplo de como você viabilizar a contratação de licenças de forma legal. De algo simples, acessível e com valor justo.
Absolutely not. Unless you tab every computer and hardware device in each individual home, it would be impossible. And even then, they'll probably work around it.
Cultura e conscientização. Então, se você cria uma cultura, agora isso é educação, desde o início, das crianças principalmente, de que a pirataria é errado, então o futuro, a pirataria deve reduzir.
To completely cut it out, we've got to be, or the governments have pretty much got to be Nazis about it.
I don't think it's that bad, the situation of the software right now.
In order to stop it, then they need harsher penalties.
No.
I think overall there's very little chance of, reducing or removing piracy in the long run.
Why would you encourage the software professionals to watch the film?
Firstly, solidarity, since I'm a QA too. Secondly, to see what the other people think of what we do inside the industry, and overall it's very encouraging, and I think it would be a good watch for any QA.
Personal thoughts about software?
It's like a small god inside of the computer is doing everything, and
to me, software has made life very good.
It seems to me that there's pretty much nothing that a piece of software can't do. Software can flush your toilet, software can have groceries delivered to your house, it can babysit your kids, software can teach you another language. Software is pretty much the key to knowledge and power right now.
Consider că multe programe senzaționale pe cuvântul.
The software today it's definitely much better than it was 2 years ago, 3 years ago, even 3 months ago.
Some are user-friendly, some are not. Too many out there. Lots of propaganda, not sure which one to use.
I think without software, we cannot use any hardware.
Sunt un miracol pe alocuri.
They're practical. They've made us do things that we couldn't do before.
I feel softwares are wonderful things.
Sometimes it's frustrating for me, certain programs that I find disobedient.
Software can do anything, but software is written by humans, and so it's up to the humans to decide what to do.
I wish I could understand more. I think I could do more, but I'm lazy with that.
Well, it's really a good thing, you know. I think who invented them has been really creative.
To answer that very honestly, I don't have any thoughts at all. Blokes like me, I would think it's probably fair to say don't think about software at all throughout the entire day.
Can you imagine what would happen if the software just disappeared one day?
It'd be utter chaos.
We cannot use computer. Computer died.
Life would be different, but maybe better too.
Oh, I couldn't imagine. I grew up in the 90s, and the 90s was the boom of software and computers.
The present world would come to a crash.
El primer impacto es personal, desaparecería mi empresa, desapareceríamos lo que estamos haciendo, entonces eso evidentemente no me causa ninguna gracia. O sea, no me lo puedo imaginar. Pero si desaparece, estoy seguro que desaparecen muchas comodidades que hoy tenemos y que nos va a ser realmente difícil. O sea.
On survivrait sans aucun souci, on s'adapterait à nouveau, mais ça serait très compliqué. Il faudrait réapprendre à utiliser du papier, crayon, notre cerveau, et ça, on n'a plus l'habitude.
Ça veut dire plus de banque, ça veut dire plus de bourse, ça veut dire plus d'économie telle qu'on la connaît, ça veut dire plus de transport tel qu'on les connaît, ça veut dire plus de pétrole.
Nimic nu o să mai meargă, cetatea nu o să mai aibă unde să lucreze.
That would really traumatize and jeopardize the whole world.
Most of the things wouldn't work, I guess.
Imaginar eu posso, que vai desaparecer não é verdade. Mas imaginando, eu vejo que é um voltar ao início de quando a gente trabalhava com processos manuais.
It disappear, we disappear.
Sinceramente, eu não imaginaria isso. Porque, de uma certa forma, o software sempre existiu. O software, tanto quanto o computador, ele é baseado no pensamento humano. Então, como é que isso poderia deixar de existir? O primeiro software que existe está dentro da nossa cabeça.
Everything would stop working, people would lose their jobs, the rate of suicide will increase faster because everything is software today.
Sure, we'd be back in the 50s, but it would be positive in the fact that we'd be back in the 50s. It would be terribly negative in the fact, in the sense that we would lose virtually all our gains that we've made technologically since the 50s.
Wow, life without software, I think it's quite terrible.
There will be unemployment.
It would be devastating if all of a sudden it disappeared.
The whole world will turn into a nostalgic place.
Seria como uma viagem no tempo.
People would get smarter, I think. Software has made a lot of people dumb because it's made so much so easy. I think that first there would be panic. People would become healthier, smarter, and more bored.
On a vécu longtemps sans ordinateur, je vois pas pourquoi on n'arriverait pas.
There would be somewhat of a panic.
I think the whole world will be one big calamity.
Communication goes down.
Lo primero que pasaría es que la gente no podría hacer cosas.
How do you think people would react?
Carnage. I think it would be pure anarchy.
Chaos. Absolutely. I think it would be serious for people to actually use that, especially businesses who hone on computer and technology.
There'd be madness.
They will become nervous about so many things because they are thinking that that's the end of the world.
Seria novo aprendizado. E é interessante porque haveria choque de gerações.
It would be a riot. They would be very angry and lost.
The Instagram girls will die and I'll starve.
O să fie foarte nervoși.
People will get crazy if they don't have the software and computer to their rescue.
Je pense qu'ils perdraient leur repère.
eu acho que num primeiro momento as pessoas ficariam desorientadas. Tem muita gente que não consegue nem fazer um cálculo simples matemático sem ter um software do lado.
I think there would be a lot of outcry.
If software doesn't work, that also means that security systems don't work, and I'm pretty sure that a bunch of people will see that as an opportunity to go and steal whatever and to go and do whatever they want.
People will adapt rapidly.
First reaction would be frustration, I guess, maybe even panic.
Isterie în masă. Nimeni n-ar mai ști să facă nimic. Prea puțini oameni au cultura generală suficientă ca să se descurce fără software.
It will be very miserable, but not only miserable, many will die. Because even the hospital systems currently are running softwares.
Probably react with panic and with total lack of understanding what was happening.
Seria traumático, mas como um processo de aprendizado que nós tivemos de software, isso também seria possível com trabalhos manuais.
People will be more physically active, first of all.
People who are used to using it would find it very, very difficult not to have access to a computer or to software.
Violently.
I guess a few would be happy, most would be most dismayed. I would be absolutely devastated.
They'd be absolutely horrified and could not cope.
It'd be a meltdown. People in the cities would be freaking out. It'd be mayhemic. Yeah, it'd be crazy, I reckon.
How do you think you would react?
Wow, I will celebrate for a while. Sometimes I'm so tired about all that software and devices, so I would have much more time for myself, for my family, for my hobbies.
I'd make sure I had lots of tin food and can openers and hope for the best.
I don't think I'd have that much of a reaction.
I will be the relaxed person.
Wow, I would go crazy, I don't know, because I would lose my friends, I would lose communication.
I would miss internet for some time for sure.
O să mă joc bălonpat și o să o invit pe prietena mea Tarashit să se joace cu mine.
Frustrated and I don't know. It could be a good excuse to just leave everything behind and then start all over again.
I'm working on computers and I'm working with software, but it doesn't mean I like computers and doesn't mean I like software.
But I would be as devastated or as caught in being unable to do things as everybody else. You know, you go to the store, you can't shop, your phone is not going to work, your television is not going to work, nothing's going to work.
I think that would be great.
J'ai connu le monde sans ordinateur. Mon premier ordinateur s'est tourné sur Windows 3.11 et je l'ai eu quand j'avais déjà 25 ans comme ça. Donc le monde sans ordinateur fonctionne aussi pour moi.
Ce serait pas une mauvaise chose dans un sens. On pourrait peut-être apprendre à communiquer avec les gens au lieu d'utiliser Facebook ou les emails.
I'd be alright. I'm pretty certain there'd be no dramas for me. I can go back to where I come from and we all live in the bush, so we're pretty self-sufficient as it is. I'm pretty self-sufficient out here. It's not a biggie, I wouldn't think. I mean, there'd be a few things that'd be complicated.
Of course I would have to change my profession.
I grew up without computers. I first used a computer in my early 50s. I used a typewriter and I functioned very well. When you don't know anything better, you function without it.
Eu sofreria pouco.
I think I would go non-productive. I don't think I would be able to do anything.
I would cry.
I don't know whether I would call it a tragedy, a calamity, a brutality, a fatality.
I think I'll be in a state of shock.
I like to write letters and I like to be in touch that way, so I don't think much is going to really change for my life.
I would go and find a job in the backwoods chopping wood somewhere. I think that's the only thing left.
Do you think the QA principles could or should be applied in day-to-day life?
Yes, I think they should. If people took more care in what they were undertaking and ensuring that they were getting the results they wanted, then I think their daily routines would be a lot more enjoyable and efficient.
À mon avis, on le fait déjà.
Eu não tenho dúvidas que sim. Você não está preocupado com a qualidade da roupa que você utiliza? Você não está preocupado com a qualidade do carro, da gasolina que você põe no seu carro? com a qualidade da TV a cabo que você assiste, a garantia de qualidade ela está em todos os âmbitos da nossa vida. Nós temos que sempre estar preocupados com a garantia da qualidade.
It should be, but as far as the relations goes and all, you should be more relaxed.
I think in some scenarios it would be useful to apply QA principles in day-to-day life because it would introduce a certain amount of rationale into decision making, which isn't necessarily there to begin with.
Yes, it's a definite answer.
Acho que sim, desde você rever um texto antes de você mandar, por exemplo, até você pensar um pouco antes de falar o que você quer, isso tudo é um pouco a filosofia do QA, né? Que é você pensar um pouco antes de mandar as coisas para produção, você ter um olhar crítico antes de enviar para o cliente.
Would you want your children to be software savvy? Why or why not?
I don't think I'll have a choice. I was interested by this question when I read it. I don't think my kids will have a choice whether or not to be software savvy. I think they just will.
It depends on what they love, so I wouldn't force them to do anything.
Well, I'm not married yet.
They get it through the mother's milk, so to speak.
S'ils en ont pas à la maison, ils en verront chez tous les copains.
Fossem criadas junto ao uso do software, porque elas vão precisar utilizar, vai fazer parte da vida delas, então sim.
I don't want them to feel that, just computers is the only life. I want them to see much more, that life is much beyond just this, box.
To restrict them from having access to people that I would be the wrong thing to do. So yeah, definitely I want them to be software savvy.
We are living right on the information highway.
I can't choose for my child what he wants to be.
Yes, I'd like them to be software savvy. And as you know, world is moving forward. If you don't adopt, you'll be left behind.
Absolutely essential. I don't think one can get on in the future. I don't think one can make progress in the world as a youngster, as you're growing up, if you were not software savvy. I think it's critical.
Do you think writing code is like writing poetry? Why?
It's more like writing a complicated short story with multiple endings and multiple beginnings, and you don't know who the main actors are until you've written it.
You just look at code, it's ugly, and then you make it better, and then you make it even better, and then you reach a point where it's perfect.
My gut feeling is that in general it is not like writing poetry. When I walk around an office that's got lots of developers in, it doesn't seem like they're writing poetry.
A poet pours his heart out, and what we are doing, we are pouring our brain out.
Eu acho bem diferente, porque eu não faço a menor ideia de como se escreve uma poesia.
In many ways, yes, because as a poet, I write to communicate something, I create something. So writing code is essentially creating something out of nothing. Kind of, because I believe with code, you start from what you feel within you, then you try to put it to life.
J'ai plus de respect pour les poètes que ça, je suis pas... Mais non, par contre, on parle souvent d'élégance dans la programmation. Et c'est vrai qu'un code élégant, quand on y arrive, quand on a une vraie problématique, puis qu'on y répond par un code élégant, il y a vraiment une satisfaction qui est assez indescriptible.
Is it true that there's a war between testers and developers?
I think at certain times in the development process, it can get pretty tense between these two groups.
Never heard of it. I would think so, because testers do not really mind about how much you go through. They only want to... All they mind about is what exactly... They merely look for their own satisfaction. They want what best suits them, rather than how hard or how easy you go through to do that.
Every day, in fact every moment, there is always a fight, and it should be, and it's for good.
The whole time. Ask me. There's a war between them the whole time.
I wouldn't call it a war. I would call it more as miscommunication. Because as a developer, there's something I need to do, and that if you could have testers and developers communicate better, there would be no war.
Yes.
A computer lets you make more mistakes faster than any other invention in human history, with the possible exceptions of handguns and tequila, said Mitch Radcliffe. Do you think this is true? Why? Or why not?
Non, moi je pense que c'est aux parents d'apprendre à bien utiliser l'ordinateur parce que ça peut être un outil très très important s'il est bien utilisé, très utile.
It does, because it's we people who run the computer and people do make mistakes.
La computadora, digamos, acelera todo, ¿no? Acelera el procesamiento de cualquier información y de cualquier actividad. Entonces, si en ese software contiene un error, en ese error se propaga muy rápidamente.
I was pretty wild in my younger days, and I never got locked up for erratic behavior with a computer.
When you know your responsibilities, when you know what you do on computer, it's not true.
I think humanity has dumbed a bit with computers.
Non, sono d'accordo. No computer che faccia mente castrolucida.
I think it's true, and I can wrap it down in just a statement.
Yeah, I guess it could be.
Computers do not keep secrets.
I think that's untrue on that gentleman. I think there's a lot of ways you can get in trouble besides messing up on a computer or making a mistake on a computer.
I think so.
Everything now goes faster. It's not because of the computer, it's not because of the software, but it's because of the fact that now we don't have any more priorities.
I think he's a complete nutter. Computers are not there to have you make mistakes or less mistakes. They are there to generate value to the world, and they do that enormously well.
Actually, mistakes are more acceptable in computer world.
Yes, you tend to get inclined with it, and you can make mistakes. And mistakes are faster, and they are larger in scale.
Heureusement qu'il y a la fonction Ctrl+Z.
Não, eu não acho que é verdade. Eu não acho que o computador deixa você cometer erros. O que pode acontecer é que o computador, ele pode ser, como eu disse numa outra pergunta anterior, multiplicador de erros.
I think it's a useless statement. It doesn't. It's not helpful. Sure, you can make mistakes with software, but so what?
What do you think your grandma would have to say about software?
My grandma is so funny. After seeing my brother working on his computer, she asked my mom, "What is he doing in front of a box for so many hours?"
She's not over the moon with software, but she doesn't mind it.
She's died at 100, and that was a long time ago, so I don't think she knows like futuristic big time, like very, very sci-fi.
She would think it's something from the devil, I guess.
J software.
She'll probably think that I'm a psycho and she'll run away or throw me out of her house.
Elle s'y mettrait pour rester à la page. Et sinon, elle penserait à la première fois qu'elle a vu un téléphone ou la première fois qu'elle a vu une télévision. Elle dit voilà, une nouvelle chose de plus.
She's happy with what is happening in the world with the help of the softwares.
Öncelikle babaannem zaten duyamıyor ve konuşamıyor, sadece görebiliyor. O yüzden onun kullandığı herhangi bir yazılım türünden hiçbir alet ya da herhangi bir şey yok.
Elle me dirait, mais c'est génial, on arrive à communiquer, on arrive à se voir, on arrive à se parler, mais c'est génial.
Minha avó não conseguiria pronunciar nem software.
They're from a small town in Greece, and so they probably never seen a computer in their life.
She would say, soft what?
I guess maybe she'd find that like strange and special.
It would be really hard situation for my grandma.
She would have said, take up some other profession, otherwise it would be hard to get a husband.
Maybe sometimes she'll tell me, please put some petrol and fill it with petrol, this box, because I want to watch some movie.
Elle dit toujours tout ça se passe derrière la vitre. Pour elle, la vitre, c'est l'écran. Déjà, il faut décoder son langage.
She is not interested in technology at all, a technophobe, you may say.
To her, it would be like, magic.
She would say that we shouldn't use it that much, that we shouldn't trust it.
I
don't think she has a lot of information about it.
When she first saw it, she thought it was ridiculous and nonsense and imaginary and didn't exist. Now, like I said, she gets her food delivered with it. She speaks to her family all around the world. She's an addict, although she'd probably still say it's stupid.
Why do you think people choose jobs in this industry?
Because it is everywhere. People choose jobs in the software industry because it's everywhere. It's rapidly changing, rapidly evolving. In the short time that I've become aware of computers, it's changing, bang, bang, bang. Every year something different, every month something different.
I don't know personally because I'm not someone who's chosen a job in the software industry.
I think there is always room for improvement in this industry. I mean, it provides them with tremendous satisfaction.
Je pense qu'à la base, ils aiment bien, qu'ils ont quelque chose avec les ordinateurs, parce qu'on peut bien aimer programmer. Il y a plein de choses à faire sur un ordinateur, que ce soit concepteur de jeux vidéo, que ce soit programmer justement de software, de logiciels.
Because they're very well paid.
Porque hoje em dia é realmente uma indústria que você tem certeza que não vai acabar, a não ser que tenha realmente apocalipse do estilo Exterminador do Futuro, alguma coisa desse tipo. Isso não vai acabar nunca.
They say do what you love and love what you do, so I think people in this industry loves what they do.
Most people who want to have a career is not because they're passionate about it. It's because mainly money is the main aspect, Nobody would, not 90% of the people won't do something that pays you really less and you're really passionate about.
I think it's the up-and-coming industry for youngsters. They tend to be yuppies. They want to do the thing that everybody else is doing, and it's exciting. There are wonderful things happening in the software industry.
Innovation, excitement, being at the cutting edge of new technology.
Two outstanding reasons which I think people take jobs in the computer industry is, one is that it is very satisfying. It is very creative. So when you're creating certain things, you're developing certain things, it's very, very satisfying. And nevertheless, the second reason is that it is very paying also.
Because it will probably never slow down. As long as we have new technology, we'll have new software, and as long as we have new people, we'll have new technology. It's pretty much job security.
It has become a trend, and it is encouraged by almost all the parents.
Because they're well paid.
Çünkü bu süreçte gelişen ve devam eden bir şey. Ve en kalıcı olacak şey de teknolojidir zaten. Her zaman öyle olmuştur. Dünya ya da insanoğlunun tarihine baktığımızda. O yüzden hiçbir zaman aç kalmazlar yani.
Why do you think people choose this industry? What was your motivation?
Money, for sure.
I chose it because I like technology. The side effect of that is that it's fairly well paid, so people pay me to do what I like to do.
I was not really inspired to come and become a developer. En mi caso, yo empecé por electrónica y después descubrí el software en esa época, digamos, no sabía ni siquiera que existían las computadoras. Y cuando descubrí su existencia y cómo funcionaban, me interesó mucho.
Est-ce que ça paraît facile?
I've always tried to think about the back end of almost everything. I always think about what happens behind the scenes when a movie's been, like captured. What happens when someone is using a phone. I always think about that whole background process. So I always dreamed to be able to do something similar to all those.
Eu acho que essa curiosidade me levou a desde cedo brincar pouco com código, então.
Well, it's by accident that I'm there because I studied dietetics and there was no work at that time. So my husband was already in this industry, and he just told me, well, go on and do something with your life.
It's very innovative industry. Innovation always attracted me.
Y en ese momento hablar de computadoras acá era algo como que de película, digamos, porque no se conocía, no se tenía, no existía el PC todavía. Entonces era un sueño que de alguna manera se pudiera llegar a integrar un equipo que pudiera trabajar en computadora. Entonces eso
marcó mucho en mi vida.
My motivation back then was computer games.
Para mim, o principal fator foi o quê? Que eu peguei bem no início da evolução dessa parte de processamento de dados, me chamava muita atenção e me despertou interesse em conhecer esse mundo. E aí, a partir do momento que eu entrei e passei a conhecer todo o entorno de tecnologia da informação, fiquei e não saí até hoje.
What do you think the users usually do when they have a problem with a piece of software? For example, it does not do what they expect anymore.
Calling the administrators?
I think they try to find a way by their own, and if not, they ask another person.
They just try not to put the hammer on the screen of the computer. If they're like me, when it's not working, first they call their husband to help. They cry, they can break it.
They fix at the prompt, they don't read the message, and they stop working.
They shut down their computer. They get pissed off, and they don't even sometimes bother to give a call to customer support.
It's a human reaction. You complain about it. Probably some people start yelling at their computer.
Hoje, cada vez mais, os fornecedores de dispositivos de notebooks, tablets e tudo mais, já possuem também algumas opções para que o próprio usuário restaure as configurações iniciais. Eu imagino que isso é cada vez mais uma tendência. Onde surgiu um problema, não consegue solucionar, você pega e habilita essa opção, restaura os padrões e volta a utilizar.
I think most of the time the first thing they do is complain to whoever will listen, and if you mention to them that you know computers, then it's probably you.
They try to they uninstall the software and they install it back.
Turning off the computers.
Primeira coisa, eles reclamam. É a primeira reação. Essa porcaria não faz mais do que eu queria.
Do you know who Frank Zappa was?
J'ai l'impression qu'il est important. Non, je sais pas.
Un cântăreț celebru, un performer celebru.
No idea about that. But if we want to relate it to some kind of software, Frank Zappa can be the first one who had the idea of software.
Wasn't he one of those American gangster fellas involved with the mafia?
I heard the name. I know Zappa is a clothing line.
Yes, I know him. Personally, no, I don't know him.
He was a rock star.
Rock singer.
Frank Zappa was a musician. Some would say a poet. I guess some would say a great man.
Do you think you could easily live without your computer?
Per ansamblu, da. Mă gândesc, înainte să apară calculatoarele în viața noastră, cum ne-am trăit viața.
Da. In terms of writing my judgments, it would be very difficult. With respect to the rest of my life, I probably could.
Yes, I'm thinking I can.
My grandpa lives without computers. So good, but I cannot make it.
Not at all.
Not at all.
Oui.
Muhtemelen enstrümanıma ağırlık verirdim. O beni kurtarırdı.
Not easily, but it's not also impossible.
It's quite hard.
It's not going to make that much of a difference. Of course, maybe I won't be able to Skype with people.
I could, but it would be a major step backwards.
Yeah, I think I could go back to that.
Most definitely.
Oh no, it is barely imaginable for me.
Do you think you could easily live without your cell phone?
Oh my God, no. Oh, jeez. Ouch. No.
Up to a year ago, I never used my cell phone. Since then, since I got an iPhone, it's become an integral part of my life. I would find it very difficult not to have it.
Reiterez, înainte de apariția telefonelor mobile în viața noastră, cum ne-am descurcat omenirea?
More easily than without my computer.
Most definitely. I could live without my cell phone, yes.
C'est plus difficile de trouver une cabine téléphonique.
No.
If I have my computer with me, then it's fine.
It's easier. Not having cell phone is easier than not having computer.
Com o telefone celular, a questão da vida social das pessoas mudou bastante. Hoje as pessoas não sabem o que é mandar uma carta, não sabem como preencher uma carta, não sabem o que é fazer o telefonema. O que é engraçado, porque o telefone, que a função principal dele é fazer ligação, é a menos utilizada hoje.
Absolutely. I mean, of course, it is difficult, but it's not impossible.
No, I can't.
Now, a question not directly related to software. Shooter games are and always were very popular. Do you think it is because of the attractive design, or more likely because of the human nature? Why?
Because of design and because people are very influenced by their friends.
Yes, I do think that software is a bit of a bad thing within our society at the moment. But it's getting better.
Eu acho que os dois, porque, claro, os designs cada vez mais são realistas e eu acho que isso leva as pessoas a entrarem num mundo meio que virtual, né? E o lado da natureza humana, que é de querer se defender, de mostrar prevalência, de dominar territórios e tudo mais. E esses jogos proporcionam esse tipo de coisa, que é você dominar territórios, conquistar, tudo mais.
First thing, I don't care much about games because I don't play and I don't think it's useful to humanity.
I don't know. They're not very attractive to me.
Human nature. Absolutely. Because it's within us. It's within us to have that instinctual desire for control, power. It's what it is. It's survival of the fittest, pure basic Darwinism.
I think it's because of the human nature, you know. Well, you have a chance to get into a fight without being hurt.
I think that's barbaric.
The concept hasn't changed in 50 years. You shoot the other person and they die. They come back and you shoot them again and they die. And it's fun.
I personally release tension with shooter games.
Why do people want to destroy something? Psychologists should answer these questions.
It's not the human mind, I will say, it is the design.
There's a lot of violent streaks within us, but at the same time, they are designed to make war and shooting fun.
I really feel sad that it's popular. I don't think it should be popular, and we should actually stop, even developing games like that.
Maybe they like to have the impression to be like the action star who gets to shoot people and without consequences, I guess.
I don't know. Maybe neither of those.
People like killing things. They're a nasty species.
I think we have to be careful what we show children and at what age and what game.
Eu acho que não é nem uma coisa nem outra.
I would rather, use the word human psychology rather than human nature because it's much more scientific to talk in that terms, and in particular the psychology of male teenagers, because I don't find those games popular among adults or among girls.
Eu acho que inerente ao ser humano é esse problema de certas pessoas, não é o ser humano, mas alguns seres humanos que têm essa tendência à violência, a esse tipo de coisa. Isso não tem nada a ver com os jogos de tiro em primeira pessoa, nada disso. Eu brinquei a minha vida inteira com isso e sou uma pessoa absolutamente de paz, sou totalmente contra a violência.
If the effects were not that good, I guess people wouldn't be that much interested.
It's 99% because of human nature. Humans have always been violent, and computer games just make that violence more accessible and more fun.
Could you name a place of the city where there's no software?
No, there is not.
Is there really such a place?
Então eu acho assim, tudo aquilo que tem a natureza, de uma certa forma, não existe o software. A não ser que você considere software a inteligência divina, né? Para construir tudo aquilo, mas no fundo não tem.
The priest in our locality in a temple, he uses the laptop for the horoscope and chanting sermons and bhajans, etc.
Not anymore.
It's a very good question. There are in all the stores, in all the homes.
Tunnels.
Da, este, în metro.
I think in rural areas in Africa.
What would you recommend to the users?
The first thing should be to look at the manual. Look at the user manual. If you cannot solve the issue with the user manual delivered with the software or hardware, then contact the customer support.
Marry someone that's really good at fixing a computer. So after that, well, you just be nice to your mate and then you're good for your life.
Be patient, read the message, and try to answer the question. That's it.
Use it. It's a good thing to do it. I mean, your work gets more easier and your time has been saved, but whatever time is saved, utilize in the proper way. Don't go to Facebook and don't go to porn sites.
What would be the most important thing you would like to ask the software makers for the future?
Pentru viitor nu cred că aș avea să le adresez o întrebare, poate pentru trecut. De ce ați creat atâtea programe instabile, care se prăbușeau pur și simplu și aveau nevoie de restartarea calculatorului?
I would like to see it as user-friendly as possible, because not everybody is technologically inclined.
I think they need to listen to users more. They need to, they need to ask users more questions on what they want.
If they can make it virtual, like actually come out of the screen, have a little probe on your laptop, and the hologram comes out, and then you can actually work on it that way instead of having to sit in front of a screen, because it burns the eyes, and you can get a 3D polar view. That would be awesome.
It's my wish to use the software without using VPN.
Be careful with with the things that you make, because we don't want the machines taking over the world, unless of course they have already, I don't know.
Try not to make people so lazy.
Un software care să gătească, să spele, ar fi util, să educe copiii.
What they are planning next, and that's it.
I want them to invent something that can turn thoughts into writing at once.
Wow, now there's a good one. I'd like them to develop a virus-free internet. I'd like them to develop systems that enable homeless people and people out of jobs to get work and be paid for it, and to solve the problem of the world's danger and the way that countries are able to destroy each other.
I'd really like to ask them about artificial intelligence in softwares. I'd like to know whether this idea of, softwares having artificial intelligence would be true one day or not.
My request, to software developers would be to integrate with professionals who are doing research in tackling these problems or maybe some other problems that we might be confronted with in the future, and to help them, solve these problems so that we humans can continue to live with dignity and in peace.
I would ask them to take out some time for themselves, maybe meditate a little bit, do some breathing, get rid of the stress. I think when there is less stress in life, they will be more creative.
Why do software companies spend more time developing a new Angry Birds than a digital HIV vaccine?
I'd ask them to slow down a little bit about software.
That it would maybe last a little bit longer.
If you want to make it last a little bit longer, start celebrating GG Day. GG stands for Go Greener. GG Day is the last Sunday of each and every month. That's right, no computers, tablets, smartphones, TV, car for one whole day each month. If you think you can do it, go greener today by visiting www.softwaringhardthemovie.com/GG Day. Join the GG Day community. This is how you start saving the earth now. Help yourself by helping the earth.